Hello, everyone. I'm Warren Trent, and welcome to the second season of the DPS 7 Points podcast. I'm here with Sergeant Kameron Lee.
Yeah, welcome. And we are in the DPS Heritage Museum. We want to give a shout out to the museum for letting us use this facility here. What a neat backdrop that we have.
That's fantastic.
The 1931 Model A that I have to say I actually was able to drive before they parked it. So that's pretty cool.
Oh, wow. That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
That is pretty neat.
This place is just full of history and information and relics, if you want to call it that, from our DPS history. So thank you to the DPS Museum for letting us use this space.
Absolutely.
And we're here with Trooper Misty Van Tassel. She is our Employee Assistance Program coordinator.
Yes,
Thank you.
welcome.
Yeah. Were you voluntold to be here, or are you just willingly here?
I am willingly here.
Thank you for coming. We appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Starting off this second season, we kind of wanted to begin the first few episodes talking about our employee wellness program. We know that it's expanding. Our director and our command staff are really pushing employee wellness, physical, mental, emotional, all these things. So we're glad you're here. We're going to be talking to others in the program as well. I just really want our employees to know that this is here for them. So I'm so glad that you're here, because now we can start putting some faces with some names. Right. They see emails from people, but now that they can see you, know who you are, we're hoping that'll help open the door for them to say, hey, I know who Misty is. I feel comfortable calling her and talking to her. So as we kind of delve into this, what we really want to do is start out with who you are. We want people to get to know you. Let's start at kind of childhood, where you grew up, maybe where you went to school, and then we can kind of lead into what brought you to the agency, and then ultimately what brought you to the position you're in now.
Tell us about Misty.
About Misty. I'm actually a native here. So I was born in Casa Grande, so not too far away. And I lived there till, probably 3-4 years old. And then I was kind of back and forth between Oregon and Arizona. So my parents divorced when I was little. So my mom ended up living in Oregon for a while, and my dad stayed here. So, and my dad actually started off as Casa Grande PD when I was little, and then he stayed here because he started working for DPS actually. So as far as school and whatnot, I was just kind of a little bit of everywhere, and I wasn't actually a permanent, or where I felt a permanent resident here until probably high school. So I went to Greenway High School. Which it's funny. There's a lot of people in HR that have been to Greenway High School at one point or another. Yeah, Mary Adams, who she actually recently retired, and then one of my chaplains, Chaplain Voris, also graduated, and Leanne Lunsford. Also Greenway graduate. I think she was a senior when I was a freshman.
The only time I've been to Greenway High School is for a volleyball tournament, but I know where it is.
Right, now you know.
So,
Oh, that's awesome. That's
so
awesome.
Did you, Oregon compared to, did you enjoy Oregon? Did you like that climate? Because obviously it's
a huge difference.
To visit. I wouldn't want to live there. I don't know. I'm used to the heat. It's nice to get out of it once in a while. I still go and visit. My mom still lives in Oregon, so in fact, I'm going there for Thanksgiving. So I go back and forth a couple times a year. She comes out here. So.
And I've never been to Oregon, but the beautiful thing about Arizona is it really is so diverse.
Oh, absolutely.
We do have the desert, which I think obviously we're kind of notoriously known for, cactus and desert, but we have a beautiful state. So
until I moved here, I never knew that there was people go skiing up north. I had no clue.
So we kind of have the best of both worlds here.
Absolutely. So your position here at DPS, how did you end up here?
I ended up here, like I said, my dad was a DPS, patrolman back then, they were called. He started off in late 70s up until 92. And so I grew up around DPS. I was literally hanging out at the compound when I was 5 years old and 6 years old. And I've had other family members. My dad's ex-wife was a dispatcher here, so she was, stepmom for 17-ish years. And then her sister worked here, my Aunt Kitty. She was here for, I think, 40 plus years, Kitty Shankwitz.
Okay.
And then her husband, Frank Shankwitz. So I grew up calling them aunt and uncle. And so I've just always been around DPS. And I've always just had a passion for what my dad does. He always talks so much about his, work, and he loved his job, and I just respected it a lot. And the uniform, there was something about the uniform it's near and dear. So I never applied to anywhere else.
Oh, okay.
DPS was the only place that I ever wanted to be. And if I didn't get in here, then I would have gone on and done something else. But my original plan was to come here when I was, 21, or apply. And then life happened. And so I ended up having my daughter and getting married and, just kind of living life for a little bit. And then decided at the age of 39 that I was going to apply.
Wow.
So I was 40 actually when I went through the academy.
Oh, okay.
And it's just...
How was that going through the academy with 20-year-olds even, probably, right?
I was called mom.
Right.
Literally, there was 50 cadets in there. And because I went when it was, all agencies going
Right.
together. And so, yeah, even other agencies were calling me mom. So I was the oldest person in there. There was nobody else.
So what was that like, being the oldest person in the class?
I found it as a personal challenge because I was like, I will not be the last person running.
Yeah.
Granted, I was probably huffing and puffing a little more than the youngsters, but and I think that it was a little bit easier for me just because I had more, I think, life discipline at the time, and my husband at the time was military, so I'd kind of been in that Army military environment for a long time, and I worked for Department of Defense, so I was just used to that militant type atmosphere, and so it didn't intimidate me. It was,
you were
I knew
you were
the
on a
game.
mission.
I was on a mission.
Yeah, you're on a
that
mission.
too. Yeah. And I feel like I had a lot to prove to myself.
That's awesome. I mean,
right.
I remember when I went through, there were some that were older than me. I was 25.
Right.
But they had just kind of this inherent leadership because of the life experience that they already had.
Right.
And they just saw things a little bit differently. And that's what's so unique about this job. We don't have an age restriction.
Right.
Right. So seeing somebody come through 39, 40, while it's a little more rare, we're seeing it. And I think maybe even more and more people are maybe not satisfied with what they're doing. And they're like, hey, I want to go do something now that will give me some satisfaction or sense of purpose or whatever it is. And in your case, just carrying on that family legacy almost too, which is really cool.
For me, it was my daughter had just left for college, and I was like, I just want to go do what I've always wanted to do now. Like I felt like my different chapter. I had let her go out and do her thing, and I felt it was time for me to go and do my passions and stuff at that time. So, and along the way, I had developed a passion for health and wellness because while in the as a military spouse, I worked for Department of Defense, and I helped families transition from deployments and redeployments. And so there was a lot of, spouses who had soldiers that were deployed, and the things that they were going through, both, mentally, emotionally. I found myself kind of in those situations a lot, being a coordinator there. And it just kind of started me down that path.
Yeah.
And then I had my now ex-husband had some mental health stuff going on at the time. And so at that point I thought, okay, I want to educate myself to know what is going on, in his world, and just to be able to help people. I actually found myself to go and get the education. I went and got my master's degree in clinical mental health counseling, actually right before I went into the academy.
Oh, wow.
So I literally had just finished that in September, and the academy started, and I kind of had to pick at one point if I was going to go and get my licensure done or stick with the academy. And it's, you know, it gets away from you after a while. So I kind of found my way back full circle when this position came open.
Well, I want to circle back to your position now, but I want to go back to your experience after the graduation of the academy and your trooper experience, because here's what's neat about what you're doing now is you have that trooper experience. You've been out there on the road. You've seen what is seen out there on patrol. And then you also have this additional training and expertise in mental health. And I think that just really sets you up in such a good position to be such an amazing resource for guys and gals out there that they're going through this.
Yeah.
You know, we can talk about this a little more, but what you see and go through on a daily basis over the course of a career, I don't know how any trooper or dispatcher or anyone that deals with that can be okay.
Right.
You know, in some way, shape, or form, you're not.
Right. Because you're human. You have human.
Yeah. We're not meant to, our brains are really not meant to experience all that trauma so frequently. But let's go back to kind of when you came out of the academy, let's talk about your patrol experience and then leading up to where you are now.
Sure. So I graduated 2014, and my first duty station was in Parker, our Quartzsite Parker area. So I actually ended up using our health and wellness programs at that point, because that's when I started to go through some stuff with my ex-husband and his mental health. And fast forward to me coming back to Phoenix area, I transferred back here after about 6 months, and then I got on our night shift, our graveyard shift in Central Phoenix, and I was there for about 5 years. So definitely seen a lot working that shift, because, you know, when things happen, a bad collision, you know, at 2 o'clock in the morning, it's usually because of a DUI or, you know, drugs or something to that effect. And of course, you have higher speeds, and it's usually a pretty horrific event sometimes, you know, pretty bad one. So I've definitely seen a lot. And I think that having that experience and kind of knowing what it's like, knowing the shift work, knowing, you know, that you have to, in the moment, to just kind of push it down and keep moving because you have another call to go to and another call to go to. And so it's really not until at the end of that shift where you have time to decompress, but then do you? Because you're going home. And if you have a family, then you're, you know, you're dealing with kids, or you're dealing with, you know, family stuff going on, or whatever's going on at home. So I definitely know that experience and how difficult that can be to go through, both, like I said, on duty and off when you're especially if you have a family.
And the one thing you mentioned, which I think is important, is you started using the program not necessarily for maybe things you experienced at work, but things outside of work, right?
Right.
And that's part of this program and what it's here for too.
We had a home here in Phoenix, and then I was in Parker. So my family was here, and it was just me out there.
Okay.
So I would travel back and forth. So it was difficult when you have somebody going through something, non-work related. And he's, you know, military vet, so he had his own things that he was going through. So I knew nothing about, well, I can't say nothing. I did know about our program before I ever even got hired in, because of my dad and his people he knew here, Jim Warner, one of them that helped create this program. So I had known about it, but I wasn't necessarily a part of it as of yet because I was still brand new. So that was my first experience, being able to go through my chain of command. And within, I would say within like literally 48 hours, I was being restationed out to here. Like that's how quick it was. And I thought it was amazing that, the department saw my need and they like tended to it ASAP. And then after that, it was just, constant check-in, peer support check-in, and just making sure that I was okay, my family was okay. And I was like, okay, it's time for me to now get involved in this. So that's when I became a member of peer support as well.
Okay, so you transitioned to be part of the peer support. You and I worked at ACTIC together for a little while.
Yeah.
So when you left patrol, you went to ACTIC?
No, actually, I went to SIU.
Okay.
For 2.5 years. And then from SIU, I went over to threat mitigation over at ACTIC.
So SIU, Special Investigations.
Special Investigations,
right?
yeah.
And then threat mitigation at the Counterterrorism Center.
Right.
Which is where you and I worked together up there. Different areas, but we would see each other.
So what is your position in terms of what do you do right now? How are you applying your experience to here at DPS?
Well, right now, the program itself, we have a chaplaincy program, and there's 17 chaplains across the state. They do a plethora of things, helping out our troopers, doing NOKs, doing ride-alongs. You've seen probably Chaplain Derbyshire over at the ACTIC. He goes in once a week and just kind of offers, to talk to people, basically, just to be available. We also have peer support program, which is about, I want to say 30-ish peer support members, both sworn and non. And so we definitely get a lot of assistance for our, both, like I said, sworn and non-sworn people from our volunteers of peer support. We're also doing a lot of webinars to get the message out there to our folks that are, like you said, dealing with things that aren't necessarily work related. So there's a lot of webinars out there for that. We're also conducting a lot of trainings for health and wellness for both our sworn side and non-sworn side as well. We offer a bunch of different resources. One of them, our EAP providers, ComPsych. ComPsych, they're able to call in and actually get a counselor within their area, or they can do some, telehealth over the phone. Each person or each employee plus anyone within their household gets 12 free sessions annually, and sometimes those can be extended depending on the situation or what if it's a new issue, then it can sometimes be extended out. And then we also offer a lot of resources for folks that might be in the beginning stage of maybe, an alcohol issue or some other type of issue. So we do have other facilities that we'll use or refer to for like inpatient, outpatient services.
We really want to have people avoid finding ways to kind of self-medicate,
Yes,
exactly,
right?
yes,
So we're hoping that this,
right.
And I can tell you just personal experience, a couple of things that you guys are doing more and more of that I've appreciated. I just came off patrol, and I know we had an incident when I was on patrol that, it affected me. Mm-hmm. And one of the neatest things is a few days after, I got an email from the Employee Assistance Program, and they said, hey, we know that you were involved in this traumatic event. Mm-hmm. Here's our information. Here's some numbers you can reach out to. And it was at that point that I realized, you know what? I've been suppressing this for so long that maybe now is the time for me to just start, getting some help for myself. And sure. I realized it's okay to not be okay with what we see and do. Totally. And you guys are going around the state now and doing debriefings with the districts and personnel involved in these. And that in-person, I don't know, for me, that in-person thing that you guys are doing I think it's huge. I really, really do.
I think so too. We're actually trying to get out more and just kind of not waiting for the incident to happen or anything, you know what I mean? Just getting our faces out. And a couple of Brian and Renee had went up to Yuma last week. I ended up going up to Flagstaff and just kind of meeting the troopers, the employees, the staff, and just, spreading the word and what we offer. And like you said, putting a name to a face. I think that's super important. And yeah, with those emails, that was something that I felt, because we have the duty log that goes out every morning.
Right.
And it goes to every single employee within the department. And I would like to, at some point, if we're able to get that message of EAP kind of on the duty log, it would be nice. I don't know if it's going to happen, but it's something that I'm working on. But until then, we're taking all of those critical incidences, the fatalities, and putting those in an email to all of those that were directly involved. And that way they kind of can either respond back individually if they want to and get some assistance, or, like you said, schedule a critical incident debrief for our folks. And those are so important too, just because to be able to sit in a room with everyone involved in that incident and to be able to put the pieces of that puzzle together, because often, as you know, it can get so chaotic on scene and you have no idea what the other person was doing or why a certain thing happened or didn't happen. And, you can walk away from it being upset or discouraged or feel like, oh, I could have done this or I could have done that. When in reality, somebody else was doing that. It's just a way for people to put all of those pieces together. And it helps process all that information a little bit better.
Sure.
Yeah, that's an incredible resource. Is it a situation or where, let's say, if a trooper experienced something 2 months earlier, and it's like, oh, you're still dealing with that, and how do you unpack that?
Yeah, it's. I've done group, debriefings, even a month or two down the line because they didn't realize it was affecting until, someone, maybe a sergeant or maybe it's a trooper that realizes like, hey, our morale in our unit has gone down over the last few months, or it could just be one person. So I always encourage people to pay attention to the people that you're working around, because you're the one who's spending majority of the time with them. You're spending 40 hours a week plus with this person. You're going to recognize if the mood is down, or maybe they're looking a little disheveled coming into work, or they're earning and burning their time, calling in sick all the time, or taking time off, not taking care, or having pride in certain things that they may be used to all the time. And so I really push employees to pay attention to those around them, because it might be that employee that is going to save that person's life or save that person's marriage or save their career, because they've recognized something that maybe that person really didn't recognize at the time because they had so much going on mentally, And so I think that's one of the big things that I push out, because we push health and wellness out at new employee orientation, the academy, both pre and post academy, the supervisor summit. We're trying to kind of get a plug in anywhere we can. But that's a big thing that I do push, is like, it's so hard for people to come forward when they have something going on. Especially, I think, for troopers, just because, and I could be wrong. I'm sure everyone has an issue, but I think coming forward. But I think with troopers, there's, there's an expectation, especially that's instilled in us, even just going through the academy. You get the job done, you do what you got to do, and, but we're not saying don't take care of yourself.
Right.
That's not the message. So I think that can get kind of lost sometimes when you're just, in the grind. So I think it's important for us to come out and say, yes, it's fine to do the job, but you need to take care of yourself or you can't do the job.
Yeah, I think it's a sign of strength, when you recognize that you need help. I've been in therapy about things, and like you know what? I need to be a better person, and this is what I need to do.
Yep.
So yeah,
you're absolutely right. We're trained to suppress emotion, especially on scene. We have to kind of be the strong one, the person that's going to keep everything together, especially, you know, when you're talking about family and stuff like that. But at some point, our body just suppresses every emotion after that. When you get home, it just does not allow you to express anything. And so I can tell you personally on the sworn side, the destigmatization, I think that's the right word, is there. I'm seeing that happen, and more guys are okay with reaching out and saying, hey, I need something, whether it's just a small debrief or, hey, I need to seek something longer term. That's starting to happen. So keep doing what you guys are doing. It's working. And I know you guys are wanting to do more. I know there's some other things that are coming kind of down the pipe. And then when those announcements are ready to be made, they'll be made, I'm sure. If I'm a trooper, and you and I kind of talked about this, and I'm like, hey, I think I need a little bit more. I need some help. Maybe it's financially, maybe it's mentally, whatever. Where's the best place for me to get that resource or go to so that I can find what I need?
Well, we do have a new email, the health and wellness at AZDPS.gov, and that was actually just up and running last week. So that is an excellent place. It actually gets to all of our coordinators. So we're just all, checking the email. Also, the portal. Everybody has access to the portal. On the left-hand side of the portal where announcements are, I believe it's actually maybe right underneath announcements, but it says Wellness Center on it. And you click on that, and it takes you to everything health and wellness. So it has all of the coordinator information on there. It has different helpful phone numbers on there as far as like cop line, or there's a veterans line on there. If somebody who may have military experience and would rather kind of talk to somebody who has more of a military perspective, they can do that. All of our resources are on their ComPsych, the different facilities that we may refer people to, so they can kind of do a little research on their own if they would like before a lot of people feel comfortable like that. They may not have to call me, like nobody has to call me.
Right.
But they can definitely go there and call ComPsych on their own. They can call Copline on their own. They can call any of these people on their own. And the other thing I did want to mention, because a lot of people are concerned, I think, about the cost. Like, oh, I can't afford to go and do this, or I can't afford to take time off work, or, we do have nonprofit organization, 100 Club, that will actually help to get our troopers assistance. They do help the sworn only at this point, which is unfortunate, but it's just the way it is right now. But if somebody is maybe having an issue, say with alcohol, and they need to go to one of those facilities, 100 Club will step in and pay, I believe it's like up to $5,000 one time in order to get them into those facilities.
That's tremendous. Right?
Yeah. And then we have obviously FMLA to help secure your position if you end up going for, a few months or whatever the case may be. And 100 Club helps with many other things. If there's a trooper injured on duty, I've filled out paperwork for many of our troops that, needed a little more financial assistance each month, because sometimes a spouse has to take off work to, maybe pick up the slack where the trooper now can't. So it affects them somehow, some way financially. And then we also have 1090 Foundation, which is more your DPS specific, and they've helped out our troopers a lot as well when it comes to any type of injury or worse. So
that's awesome. Well, yeah. I love that, we're trying to take care of our people so that we can be there for the public when they need us, right? But we have to take care of ourselves first. It's kind of that adage that you have to put the oxygen mask on yourself before you can go help somebody else. So thank you, Misty, for being here. I guess our hope is that this information continues to get out and spread, and people know who you are and feel comfortable and really start utilizing the resources that we have. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. And for those of you who might be interested in coming to the museum, go to ahpdpsmuseum.org. This place is great, as Kameron was saying. So come on down, check it out.